Hey everyone, welcome back. It's time for another deep dive. And today we're going to be exploring the world of AI and whether it's making us more human or perhaps something else entirely.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I'm excited to dig into this.
Yeah, I
We've
know
got
it.
two fascinating sources to unpack today. The first is a personal account called How AI Quietly Transforms My Everyday Life.
Okay.
And the second is an academic paper titled Augmenting Humanity, which analyzes how AI is portrayed visually.
So one very personal, very grounded in daily experience, and the other one a bit more theoretical and looking at the bigger picture.
Exactly. And I think by looking at both of these perspectives, we can get a really well-rounded understanding of how AI is shaping our world and our understanding what it means to be human.
I like it. It's like a two-pronged approach.
Exactly. So let's jump right in with that personal account.
Yeah.
The author starts by talking about their AI sleep tracker, waking them up at the optimal time based on their sleep cycles.
Yeah, that's something I've been seeing more and more of these days, these AI-powered sleep trackers. It's not just about tracking your sleep anymore. It's about using that data to actually improve your sleep quality.
So it's not just a fancy alarm clock. It's like having a sleep coach on your wrist.
Right. And it makes sense. If you think about it, we spend a third of our lives sleeping. So why not optimize that time?
Exactly.
Oh, no.
Okay, so the author uses this sleep tracker, but they don't stop there. They go on to describe their smart refrigerator.
Oh, yeah, the smart fridge.
Yeah, I'm curious. What do you think of that?
You know, when I first heard about smart fridges, I have to admit I was a bit skeptical. Like, how much can a fridge actually do?
Right, it's just a fridge.
But the way the author described it, it's like this digital command center for your kitchen.
What?
It's managing grocery lists, suggesting recipes based on what you have on hand, even analyzing the nutritional content of your food.
Okay, so it's not just about keeping your food cold. It's like having a personal chef and a nutritionist all rolled into one appliance.
Exactly. It's taking care of all those mundane tasks that we often don't have the time or energy for.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
I gotta admit, I'm kind of intrigued by this smart fridge now.
Yeah. It's one of those things that you don't realize you need until you have it.
So did the author mention any other specific AI tools that they were using?
They did, actually. They talked about using an AI-powered tool for data analysis at work. It helped them sift through massive amounts of customer data to identify trends and make predictions.
Oh, wow. So we're not just talking about everyday tasks here. We're talking about how AI is transforming the workplace.
Exactly. And the author was really enthusiastic about this tool. They said it not only saved them countless hours of work, but also enabled them to uncover insights they would have otherwise missed.
So it's not just about speed. It's about enhancing our capabilities, allowing us to do things we couldn't do before.
Precisely. AI is becoming this powerful tool for augmenting human intelligence.
Okay, but what really struck me was how the author was using AI for creative tasks, like music composition and writing. It kind of challenges the idea that AI is all about cold, hard logic, doesn't it?
It totally does. There's this perception that AI is all about replacing human creativity. But the author's experience suggests that it can actually enhance our creativity in really interesting ways.
So tell me more about how they were using AI for these creative tasks. What kind of tools were they using? What are the results?
Well, for music composition, they were using a tool called MuseSpark, and they were initially hesitant. They thought it might stifle their creativity, but they actually found that it helped them break out of creative ruts and explore new genres and styles they hadn't considered before.
Wow. So it's like having a musical brainstorming partner.
Exactly. And for writing, they were using an AI tool that helped them generate blog post outlines and suggest relevant research articles.
So it's like having a research assistant and an editor all in one.
Right. It's streamlining the creative process and freeing up mental energy for those higher level tasks that require human intuition and insight.
This is all really fascinating. It seems like the author has embraced AI in a really holistic way, integrating it into so many different aspects of their life. But didn't they also talk about being wary of over-reliance on AI? Like, were there any downsides?
Yeah, they did. They emphasized the importance of maintaining a balance. They talked about creating technology-free zones in their home spaces where they intentionally disconnect from devices and engage in activities that require human skills and creativity.
I like that. It's like a digital detox.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
about being mindful of how much we rely on technology and making sure that we don't lose those essential human capabilities.
Mindful integration. I like that phrase. It seems like a key theme in the author's personal journey with AI.
It really does. It's about being intentional about how and when we use AI and making sure that it serves us rather than the other way around.
Okay, so we've seen how this one person is using AI in their everyday life. But let's shift gears now and dive into that academic analysis. Augmenting humanity. What's the main focus of this paper?
So this paper is all about visual representations of AI and how they often contribute to what they call a superhuman narrative.
Okay, so we're talking about how AI is portrayed in movies, TV shows, video games, that kind of thing.
Exactly. And the paper argues that these visual representations have a powerful impact on how we perceive AI and its role in our lives.
Interesting. So what are some of the key visual elements that contribute to this superhuman narrative?
Well, they talk about how AI-enhanced characters are often depicted with exaggerated musculature, glowing eyes, sleek, metallic exoskeletons, those classic sci-fi tropes.
Right, it's like Iron Man, RoboCops, all those iconic images of humans merging with machines.
Exactly. And the paper argues that these images aren't just about aesthetics. They're sending a message about human potential, about the possibility of transcending our limitations.
Well, it's not just about the technology itself. It's about the story that those visuals are telling about what it means to be human in an age of AI.
Precisely. And it's a story that's both exciting and a little bit unsettling.
I can see that. It's
Yeah.
like AI is holding up a mirror to our deepest desires and fears.
Exactly. It's reflecting back to us our hopes for a better future, but also our anxieties about what we might lose in the process.
That's a really powerful insight. I'm already starting to see some interesting connections between this academic analysis and that personal account. We've
Yeah.
got one showing us how AI is being used in everyday life, and the other exploring the broader cultural forces that are shaping our understanding of this technology.
It's like two sides of the same coin.
Exactly. And I think by examining both sides, we can get a much richer understanding of AI's impact on our world and on ourselves.
I agree. It's a complex, multifaceted issue. And I think the more perspectives we consider, the better equipped we'll be to navigate the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead.
Well said. So we've got the personal story of someone embracing AI in their daily life, and now this academic perspective on how visual representations of AI are shaping our perceptions. I'm really curious to see where this deep dive takes us next.
Me too. I have a feeling this is just the tip of the iceberg.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back after a short break.
It's like we were saying before the break. It's fascinating how these visual narratives we've been talking about, those superhuman AI images, they might actually be shaping the development of AI itself.
Oh, house. That's an interesting thought.
Well, just think about it for a second. We keep seeing all these images of AI as these, sleek humanoid robots, super advanced capabilities. And so it kind of makes sense that developers and researchers, they're going to be naturally striving to create systems that align with those expectations.
Right. So it's like our pop culture vision of AI is actually influencing the direction of real-world technological innovation. It's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy in a way.
Exactly. It's this crazy feedback loop between imagination and reality. We
Yeah.
see these powerful images, and it just fuels our desire to create systems that embody those qualities. And then as those systems become more advanced, they inspire even newer and more ambitious visions of AI in our media and storytelling.
Wow, it's like our collective imagination is shaping the very tools that are going to end up shaping our future.
It really is. And that's why it's so important to critically examine those narratives to understand the messages they're conveying and the potential impact they might have on our relationship with AI, both positive and negative.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, if we're not careful, we could end up creating a future that's more aligned with Hollywood's vision of AI than with what's actually best for humanity.
Right. It's all about being aware of those influences and making conscious choices about the kind of future we want to create.
So it's not just about the technology itself. It's about the stories we tell ourselves about that technology.
Exactly. And those stories have the power to shape our perceptions, our expectations, and ultimately our actions.
Okay, so we've talked about AI in everyday life, the superhuman narrative and this feedback loop between imagination and reality. But I can't help but think about those potential downsides we touched on earlier, like the concerns about data privacy, job displacement, even the possibility of AI surpassing human intelligence.
Right. Those are all valid concerns, and I think it's important to address them head on, not shy away from them.
Absolutely. So let's start with data privacy. AI systems are becoming more and more sophisticated, but they require access to vast amounts of data to function effectively.
Huge amounts. And that data often includes some pretty personal information about us, our habits, our preferences, even our health records in some cases.
Yeah, that's a little unsettling when you think about it.
Uh,
Who has access to all that data? How's it being used? Are there any safeguards in place to protect our privacy?
Those are all questions we need to be asking, and we need to be demanding answers from the companies and organizations that are developing and deploying these systems. We need more transparency, more accountability.
I agree. It's our data. and we have a right to know how it's being used.
Absolutely. And then there's the whole issue of job displacement. As AI becomes more capable of performing tasks that were once done by humans, there's a real concern about the potential for widespread unemployment.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people talking about that. Like, are robots going to take over all our jobs?
It's a complex issue with no easy answers, I think. Some experts argue that AI will create new jobs even as it displaces others. But others worry that the pace of job creation won't keep up with the pace of displacement, and we could end up with a lot of people out of work.
So it's not just a technological challenge, it's a societal one. We need to be thinking about how we prepare our workforce for an AI-driven economy.
Exactly. We need to invest in education and retraining programs to ensure that people have the skills they need to thrive in a world where AI is increasingly integrated into the workplace.
Yeah, because if we're not careful, we could end up with a society that's deeply divided between those who benefit from AI and those who are left behind.
Right. It's about making sure that the benefits of AI are shared equitably and that everyone has the opportunity to participate in this new economy.
Okay, so we've talked about data privacy, job displacement, and then there's that big looming question that everyone's thinking about, the possibility of AI surpassing human intelligence. Is that a realistic concern, or is it just science fiction?
Oh, it's a question that's been debated for decades, and there's no easy answer. Some experts believe that we're still a long way from creating artificial general intelligence, AGI systems that have the same cognitive abilities as humans. But others argue that the pace of progress in AI is accelerating and that we need to be thinking now about the potential implications of creating machines that might one day surpass our own intelligence.
So it's not just a matter of if, but when.
Yeah.
And if that happens, what does it mean for humanity? Do we risk becoming subservient to our own creations?
Those are big philosophical questions, and I don't think anyone has the answers yet. But I think it's important to remember that we're still in the early stages of AI development. We have the opportunity to shape the trajectory of this technology
Yeah.
to ensure that it's aligned with our values and that it's used for the benefit of humanity.
So it's not about fearing AI, but about guiding its development responsibly.
Exactly. It's about making sure that we're in the driver's seat, not the passenger seat.
I like that analogy. So it's
Yeah.
about being proactive, not reactive.
Right. We need to be having these conversations now while we still have the chance to shape the future of AI.
I completely agree. And I think that's a really important takeaway for our listeners. This isn't just about robots and algorithms. It's about our values, our choices, and our collective responsibility to shape the future of AI in a way that benefits all of humanity.
Well said. It's about recognizing that we have agency, that we're not just passive observers in this technological revolution.
We have the power to shape the future we want to see.
Exactly. And that's both exciting and a little bit daunting. But I think it's ultimately a hopeful message.
I agree. So we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, from the personal to the philosophical. What are some key takeaways our listeners can apply to their own lives?
Well, I think the first takeaway is that AI is already here. It's not some distant future technology. It's rapidly becoming integrated into every aspect of our lives.
So we can't just ignore it or pretend it's not happening.
Exactly. And the second takeaway is that AI is a tool. And like any tool, it can be used for good or for bad. It all depends on the intentions of the humans behind it.
So we need to be mindful of how we're using AI and how it's being used by others.
Right. It's about being conscious consumers of AI, not just passive recipients.
And the third takeaway is that we all have a role to play in shaping the future of AI. This isn't something that's happening to us. It's something we're actively creating through our choices and actions.
I completely agree. We need to be having these conversations, not just among experts and policymakers, but within our families, our communities, and our workplaces.
We need to be thinking critically about the values we want to embed in these systems and the kind of future we want to build with AI.
Exactly. Because the future is not predetermined. It's something we're creating right now.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground, but there's still so much more to explore. I'm already looking forward to the next part of this deep dive.
Me too. I think our listeners will be surprised by some of the insights we uncover next.
As we wrap up this deep dive into AI, I can't help but think about that personal account again. Remember how the author talked about using AI to connect with their family? Like, it wasn't all just about productivity and efficiency.
Oh, yeah. They talked about that AI storytelling app they use with their kids.
Right.
Yeah.
Help them create those personalized bedtime stories where their kids were the main characters.
It's like a modern-day fairy tale generator.
Exactly. And it's just such a cool example of how AI can actually enhance our relationships, like create shared experiences and foster deeper connections with the people we love.
It's interesting you say that because it actually ties back to that academic paper we discussed. Remember how they analyzed those superhuman AI images?
Yeah, those classic sci-fi tropes.
Right. Well, the paper argued that those images weren't just about physical prowess or technological superiority. They also tapped into our desire for connection, for purpose, for transcendence.
It's like AI is offering us this glimpse of a future where we can be more than just human, where
Hmm.
we can overcome our limitations and achieve things we never thought possible.
And that's a powerful message, one that can inspire us to strive for greatness, to push our boundaries, and to create a better future for ourselves and for generations to come.
I love that idea. But of course, we also have to acknowledge the potential downsides, right? The ethical challenges that come with any powerful technology.
Absolutely. We can't just blindly embrace AI without considering the potential consequences. We need to have those open and honest conversations about things like algorithmic bias, data privacy, the potential for job displacement, all the tough stuff.
Yeah, we can't shy away from those difficult questions.
Exactly. We need to be asking those tough questions about who controls this technology, how it's being used, and who benefits from its development.
And those conversations need to involve everyone, not just the experts.
I completely agree. This isn't just a technical issue, it's a societal one. We all have a stake in shaping the future of AI.
It's like we're standing at a crossroads, and we have the power to choose which path we take.
And that choice is ultimately a reflection of our values, our priorities, and our vision for the future. Do we want to use AI to create a world that's more equitable, more sustainable, more fulfilling for all? Or do we want to let it exacerbate existing inequalities and further divide us?
Wow, those are some big questions.
They are. But they're questions we need to be asking ourselves now as we navigate this uncharted territory.
And I think the answer lies in remembering that AI is a tool. And like any tool, it can be used for good or for bad. It all depends on the intentions of the humans behind it.
Well said. It's a reminder that we have agency, that we're not just passive bystanders in this technological revolution.
We have the power to shape the future we want to see.
Exactly. So let's bring it back to that central question we posed at the beginning. Is AI making us more human or something else entirely?
It's a question that sparked a lot of debate and a lot of really interesting possibilities.
And I think the answer is more complex than a simple yes or no. AI has the potential to both enhance our humanity and challenge it. It can empower us, connect us, inspire us, but it can also amplify our biases, erode our privacy, displace us from our livelihoods. It's a mixed bag.
I think you're right. It's not about AI making us more or less human. It's about how we choose to use this incredibly powerful technology to shape our individual lives and our collective future.
I couldn't have said it better myself. It's a reminder that the future isn't predetermined. It's something we're actively creating through our choices, our actions, and our collective imagination.
And as we wrap up this deep dive, we want to leave our listeners with a final thought-provoking question. If AI empowers us to overcome our limitations, what new possibilities for human flourishing might emerge? What kind of future will you choose to create?
It's been a pleasure exploring these ideas with you. Thanks for joining us on this journey of exploration and discovery. Until next time.